Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 1189, 1189, July the 13th, 2020, Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, I want to start off today's video just by letting you all know that I'm going to be making a bit of a change to the way that I've been doing my TowerGate videos. So as you know, when I first started on this journey quite a long time ago now, 3 years ago now it seems like, more than that. The goal was to basically follow the Spygate story. That was the purpose of these videos to begin with. And so what has happened is over time, particularly in the last 6 months and even the last year to some degree, there's not very much Spygate news to report on, and some days there's nothing. And so then I've because I'd been in the habit of doing a 30-minute video every day, I would have to default to talking about political issues or other issues or whatever. And all this stuff is kind of starting to bore me, and I'm not really into it that much anyway. I really want to be focused on the Spygate story totally is what I want to do, but there just hasn't been that much to talk about. Now, I'm hoping in the weeks and months to come, as we get closer to Labor Day and expecting Durham will take some action, whatever he may do, I expect things will pick up again, and there may be enough material to do these 30-minute videos every day. So beginning tomorrow, or I should say today, on Monday after today's video, will actually be Tuesday's video, I'm only going to be covering issues dealing with Spygate, or cases related to Spygate, things about Spygate. That's all I really want to be focused on now. I'm going to get away from the political stuff. It's just I'm kind of bored with it. Many of you may also be as well. And I know this will make some of you very happy who just come here for Spygate news, and for others you might be disappointed because you just like the 30-minute video regardless of what I talk about. So I do understand that, and I do understand some people will be bummed out by that, but hopefully you understand that that's just kind of where I've gotten to at this point. Because you have to remember, when I sit down to do my research, it takes me 2 to 3 hours a day to do the research to do a 30-minute video. And especially it gets very hard when there's no Spygate news and I spend 2 hours looking for anything and everything and I find nothing, and then I have to default to talking about Pelosi or the damn Democrats or coronavirus or something. I just don't, I don't like, I don't even, you know, that stuff is not part of my daily life, to be honest with you. We don't have a coronavirus problem around here. You know, we don't have Black Lives Matter marching through the streets. I'm not really all that much affected by this stuff in my own personal life. I'm observing it and things and such. But I'm tired of all that as well, really. I mean, I've just had enough of it all. And in addition to that, as most of you know, I'm a musician, and my hobby is music. And I have a full-time, very demanding daytime job. I have a lot of responsibility. I actually run a business. I'm the person who runs the actual business for the owners, so I have a lot of demands on my time and my energy there. But typically I do a solo album project about every 3 or 4 years, and it's been now almost 5 years since I did the last one because I've been spending all my time doing this, and it's my recreation time. It's when I finally kind of get to let some of the stuff out. So I started writing for a new project about 3 months ago, and here at the beginning of September we're going to start recording sessions and things like that. So I'm way overdue for another album project. So anyway, I'm going to be putting more focus into that. But just so you know, beginning on Tuesday, what'll likely be the result is that my videos will not be a full 30 minutes long or whatever, because there's usually not 30 minutes of Spygate news to talk about right now. Hopefully that will change. If the material's there, I'm more than happy to do the video and do the full 30-minute video on the Spygate related issues. But I'm not just going to fill up time anymore doing the political stuff. There may even be some days from time to time where there's just nothing about Spygate to talk about at all. And I think that there won't be too many of those days, but you know, they will come and go. And so on those days I probably just won't do any video. So if you don't see an upload, don't freak out. It just means there's really nothing to report on Spygate that day. So anyway, this is just something I'm doing at least for the immediate future, probably carrying me through till probably the first of the year. Now keep in mind, we are expecting Durham to come out sometime around Labor Day. That's what we're being told. And so things could really pick up, at which point I'm all over this story as I always have been, and I'll devote whatever time I have to make sure that I get the Spygate news out there. Because again, that has to go along with my timeline, which I work on every day as well. So that is my plan going forward for TowerGate beginning on Tuesday. Spygate information and related information or analysis of things going on is really where I'm going to be focusing all my time, getting away from the political stuff. And from time to time, there may be days when there may not be anything to talk about, so it wouldn't be an upload that day. And the videos will likely be shorter because there's usually not 30 minutes worth of Spygate stuff to talk about. But hopefully, I know that makes some of you happy, some of you not so happy. But I apologize to those of you who are unhappy about that, but hopefully you'll understand where my position is, where I'm coming from here on this. Having said that, let's go ahead now and move forward with the news of the last 24 hours, and then we'll get to the poll question I asked in the previous video about who everyone thinks will be Biden's VP pick. I found that to be very interesting, so we will get into that here before the video is up. So I guess the first thing to talk about is, of course, on Friday, President Trump commuted Roger Stone's sentence, which was the right thing to do. And of course, as you can imagine, the left-wing radicals went crazy over it. And they can go ahead and go crazy over it. That's okay. Trump has pardoned about 11 people in his entire time in his first 4 years as president, while Slick Willie and Obama... actually, Obama did over 1,000 pardons. Slick Willie did many, many hundreds, including some very, very bad players. So I'm not really worried about the political fallout from all this. The Democrats will get about a week worth of chew factor out of this, and then it'll be pretty much chewed up and won't matter anymore. So I don't think Trump takes much of a hit on this, and it was the right thing to do. But actually, something very good has come out of it. Because what happened was, after Trump commuted the sentence of Roger Stone, Uncle Bob the executioner Mueller could not help but chime in. Now, I'm not even sure that Mueller himself is responsible for the tweet. It may have been Weissman, it may have been someone else, one of his handlers, I don't know who it was, but it was a huge mistake for them to do that. Because when they did that, Uncle Bob the executioner puts out that tweet basically saying what a problem he has with Trump's decision to commute Stone's sentence. The Democrats decided to jump all over that in the Senate, on the Senate Judiciary Committee, decided to jump all over that, and they went to Lindsey Graham because they want to subpoena Uncle Bob the executioner to come in and tell them all about why it's a bad idea to pardon or to commute the sentence of Roger Stone. Well, naturally, Lindsey Graham is thinking, you want to bring Uncle Bob back? You know, the last time he appeared before Congress, it appears that the guy didn't even know what was going on in his own investigation. He didn't exactly do a stellar job. I mean, he pretty much dropped the ball big time. I mean, all the air literally came out of the Russiagate hoax as a result of Uncle Bob's testimony. I mean, it was horrible, let's face it. It was a big downer for the Dems. So Lindsey Graham obviously is thinking, man, these people are stupid. Oh yeah, he's like, oh, you want me to subpoena Mueller? Sure. Oh, I'd love to subpoena Mueller. Let's go ahead and get him in here. So now Lindsey Graham is going to subpoena Uncle Bob the executioner because he made that tweet, and now he's going to have to come in and testify. And you can bet that there's going to be a lot of questions about everything that went on with Stone. And I don't think Uncle Bob the executioner knows what the hell happened in the Stone case. I don't think he knows anything about anything. So he's going to be getting hit with some very tough questions from Republicans, particularly about that little SWAT raid, how CNN managed to show up there a half an hour before the raid, all the other things around the Stone case. There's going to be a lot of very difficult, tricky questions for Uncle Bob to handle that he's not going to be able to handle, quite honestly. And I expect that he's going to do the same thing he did before. He's going to say, I can't comment on that. I can't talk about that. That's not under my purview. I mean, that's what you're going to get. He's going to look very bad. He's going to look very incompetent. And it's just going to go very, very poorly. And Lindsey Graham's going to sit there and laugh. I mean, Lindsey Graham's going to laugh. He cannot believe the Democrats were this stupid to compel Uncle Bob to appear by subpoena in front of his committee. I mean, this is almost like a gift to the Republicans. I really can't believe the Democrats did this. This is quite stupid. I don't know what they think they're going to get out of this. I don't know what they watched last time Uncle Bob was testifying, but what most people saw wasn't pretty. So anyway, that is what has actually happened now. So that's actually very good. And it should be also noted that after Uncle Bob came out, or whoever does his tweets for him, and did that statement, then you had Andrew Wiseass, go on to MSNBC and say that the state of New York should bring Stone before a grand jury. That way he will be forced to tell what he knows about Trump that he won't tell. Well, he doesn't know anything about Trump. They already tried that. That's what you guys did before. You tried to threaten Stone with jail if he didn't compose a tune about Trump, and he didn't know any tunes about Trump, and he didn't want to compose any. So you'd learn nothing new. And I think that that would look very political if you tried to do that, and that would cause some serious problems. I think at some point the DOJ would put their foot down at this point. Certainly Barr, I think, at some point. Even though Barr, I don't think, supported Trump's decision to commute the sentence of Roger Stone. I don't think he would be very comfortable with New York State doing something like that. So anyway, we'll have to watch and see what happens. But it should also be noted that Rosenstein also sent out his own social media post sort of supporting Uncle Bob the Executioner's tweet. So if there was ever any doubt in your mind about Rosenstein, there should never be again. And of course, as I explained and have explained many times before, Rosenstein was the gatekeeper for the Mueller witch hunt. He was up to his eyeballs in it. He knew exactly what was going on. He played the perfect role, the dupe. He played the guy, basically, that pretended he didn't know what the hell was going on, that he was just giving full authority to the Mueller team, who was running the damn DOJ at the time, for the most part. And Rosenstein just sat back. He didn't get his hands dirty with any of the stuff. He just simply allowed Mueller's team to do whatever they wanted. He gave them whatever they wanted. And remember, it was Rosenstein who blocked all those releases of documents and information to the Congress when they were trying to get documents and witnesses for their hearings that they were having. It was Rosenstein who was threatening. It was also Rosenstein that threatened essentially the president by saying if you continue to talk about this stuff, you could be in jeopardy. If you try to declassify documents and release documents, it could interfere with Mueller's case. That could put you in jeopardy of obstruction. So Rosenstein was a deep state player. He was on the coup hunt the whole time. I do believe for sure that he did want to do a 25th Amendment coup, wear a wire. I'm sure all that is true. And so if Rosenstein, if any of you thought that Rosenstein was a white hat or anything like that, you can be assured now that he definitely was not. Because he's no longer in the administration, he'd be free to speak his mind, and he is now doing that, and he is fully supporting Uncle Bob the Executioner and his dissatisfaction with Roger Stone having his sentence commuted. So there you go. Everything you need to know about Rosenstein right there. And God, I certainly hope that Durham holds that son of a bitch accountable. Rosenstein is absolutely a top-tier player in this. Absolutely. During the entire time the Mueller investigation is going on, as all this information is coming out, showing, so even if Rosenstein got duped in the beginning, and I don't believe he did, but even if he did, there was a point there about the mid to late summer of 2017 where it became painfully obvious that the entire thing was a witch hunt and should have been shut down, but Rosenstein continued to let it happen and go on for another 10, 11 months, even after it was obvious that the whole thing was a hoax. Dude is definitely no white hat, and I do hope that Rosenstein is one of the first ones perp-walked. Well, here's a story you're going to enjoy. Of course, we all know about the mayor of Seattle, the jerkin gherkin, Jenny Durkin. She, of course, put her neck on the line so that the radical lefties could have their autonomous zone there in Seattle. She defended them. She supported them. She took a lot of political heat for them. But guess what? Now they're coming for her. That's right. On Friday, they finally got a judge's approval to approve of a petition for a recall for Mayor Jenny Durkin. A recall petition has now been approved by the judge. They will need to get only 50,000 signatures to justify a recall vote. They only need 50,000 signatures. I bet they'll get that in a week. So there you go. Mayor Durkan, after taking all that heat, after being made to look like a fool, after putting her neck on the chopping block for these radical leftists, they are now coming for her to have her removed from office by recall, by a recall vote. And they came with 7 different reasons to the judge. He found 6 of them not really to be issues that he would suggest could be used for a recall. But he did find one issue that he said could be used to justify a recall. And the issue was that the mayor authorized the use of tear gas and chemical irritants on the protesters. And for that, he is going to allow the petition to go forward. They are already starting to collect signatures. As soon as they get 50,000, there will be a vote. I'm not sure how far out the vote goes, but there will be a vote. And if the vote passes, Durkan will be gone. She may not even last until November. This thing may be over before November for Jenny Durkan, the Jerkin Gherkin. Yes, sirree. There's a lesson to all you on the left, as I've been telling some of my left-wing friends. If you think that the people who you're protesting on behalf of are somehow going to be loyal to you, you might want to read a book called Night of the Long Knives. You might want to take a look at the work of Stalin and Mao. And what you'll find is that when these radical leftists achieve success at their revolutions or counter-revolutions and get into power, the very first people they take out were their very own foot soldiers. Why? Because they realize that these people are the problem. And they realize once they institute their totalitarian programs and force them on even the people who went out and with foot soldiers and helped bring about the revolution, those are going to be the people who are going to riot first. They're not worried about the other folks. Most of them will just fall in line. They're worried about who the people are who are going to go out and hit the streets. And that's the first people they take care of. That's right. They always come for those people first. Good lesson to learn if you're a lefty. Not only that, we now have Madam Botox, Pelosi galore, herself under very, very intense pressure, as there is now a fairly serious challenge building on her far left in San Francisco. And it looks like it's this character named Shahid Buttar. He is a far left-wing leftist activist lawyer. He's also supposedly a DJ and a poet. And he is getting a lot of play. And he is pissed because Pelosi will not go hard left enough. She won't sign on to Medicare for All. She won't sign on to a bunch of other far leftist agenda, the Green New Deal and all the rest. And he is hitting her extremely hard from the left. And he is getting a very large following in the process. And he is hitting her hard on Twitter and other social media every day. And it's just a matter of time before the crazies show up at Pelosi's mansion and show up in her office and start protesting her. Remember, these people cannibalize themselves. They will turn on their own. They will bite the hand that feeds because they ain't real smart. And these leftists like Pelosi and all these others have no idea about what they've done and what they've created. So Pelosi better be on the watch out to her left flank. They're coming for her. We also have this big conflict going on now in New York. Cuomo suggesting that he has the authority and the power to fire de Blasio. Not saying he's going to do it, but there are more and more voices that were whispers a couple of weeks ago that are now beginning to get much louder, who want de Blasio gone, and they don't mean by election. They want his ass ousted. He's running people out of the city. Cops are quitting, retiring, not showing up, not doing anything, just riding around their cars all day, not doing anything. He's cut $1 billion. There's process of cutting $1 billion from their budget. He completely disbanded the 600-man team that does most of the real hardcore internal crime fighting in that city. It's going to hell. People are getting the hell out. The tax base is eroding. Businesses are getting out. New York City is falling back into the same situation it was in back in the 70s and 80s before Rudy Giuliani came in and cleaned it up. And the calls are growing louder now for Cuomo to fire de Blasio. I don't think he has the balls to do it, but depends on how bad things get. But things are clearly not rosy. Also, there's a discrepancy between Cuomo wants the kids back in school in August under various restrictions. De Blasio is pushing back on that. So there's, again, as I said, it's the left cannibalizing themselves, and it's just a matter of time before they destroy themselves. Just keep watching. I also appreciated on Friday the tweet that Trump sent out, where he said that Christopher Steele should be extradited, tried, and thrown in jail. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, you talk about people involved in the coup plot, and remember, he was working for Hillary, the demonic buzzard. That's who he was working for. And she knew everything he was doing and why. She's responsible for what he did. She was paying him. Now, it should be noted that they have certainly good reason to do so. Lindsey Graham made a criminal referral on Steele for lying to the FBI. This was almost a year ago. When he was questioned by the FBI, he lied to them. When they asked him if he was leaking to the media, he told them he was not, when in fact he was. And now, as a result of this court hearing in London, we now have him on the record admitting to that judge in that London case that in fact he was leaking to the media while he was being paid by the FBI as an informant. There you go. Did you see the video of the Antifa thug who took a smoke canister to the face? Whew. Bet that had to hurt. Yikes. Didn't look real good. He seemed to be in some pain. Pretty good shot, you gotta admit. A smoke canister to the face, that's gotta hurt. He was a mess, man. He was coughing up blood and he was a mess. His face did like somebody smashed him in the face with a hammer. Like he's probably done to some innocent people over the past few weeks. He's a regular. They said that they spotted him at approximately 40 other protest events prior to that. But it was the U.S. Marshals who fired the smoke canisters, and that one hit him right in the face. So he's in a bit of pain. Good for him. So I asked the question about who you guys thought might be the most likely pick for Burisma Joe, and I think most of us agree that we're still, I think most of us believe that it'll be a miracle if the Dems actually stay with Biden. I think they have a plot up their sleeve. Many of you clearly believe they have a plot up their sleeve to ditch Biden and bring in someone else. I think it's going to be the Rotten Reverend. It could be anybody who knows what's going on. There's definitely something up the Democrats' sleeve. I don't know exactly what it is, but something. They got something up their sleeve. When you watch Biden, hard to believe they're going to roll with Biden. I get that impression a lot of you feel the same way. But having said that, I asked the question, who do you think will be Biden's pick? Because they're saying they're going to name this pick sometime in the next 2 weeks or so. Now, I should tell you that the way I put together the list of 5 that I offered to you was I did some research. I went to some left-wing websites to see who the Democrats were suggesting were the top 5 candidates that would be check off both boxes, black and female. And that's the ones I came up with. Now, there are a couple of other Hispanic women, but I think there's a dynamic here that you have to understand with the black and Hispanic thing here. The blacks and Hispanics do not see themselves as the same. They're both vying for attention from the Democratic Party. They're competitors in the Democratic Party for attention. And so, the idea that if they nominate a Hispanic female, that will satisfy Black Lives Matter and other black members of Congress like Maxine Waters and all these people. No, a Hispanic, if they nominate a Hispanic female to be VP, Black Lives Matter, black members of Congress, the radical ones, they will consider that a slap in the face, that they would put a Hispanic above a black, because they definitely see themselves as different. The blacks do not see themselves as being Hispanics, one and the same. Not at all. They definitely see themselves as different, and they are in competition. I think if Biden nominated a Hispanic female, that the blowback would be just incredible. He might as well, bring in a white man. I mean, it'd be the same type of blowback. It's not going to work. These people absolutely demand a black woman. That's what they want. They'll settle for nothing less. If Biden does something other than that, he will pay heavy price. And I think the Dems know that. So that's why I didn't add any Hispanic females, even though there's 2 or 3 that are certainly names that have been floating out there. So let's go through these. Julie Johnson, she went with the repulsive Rice. David Sill, Rice, to protect her from what may be coming. Bessie S. went with Rice. Montag Mueller went with Rice. Jimmy Gatton went with Kampala, the Ugandan giant, along with, that would be Kamala Harris, along with Mayor Bottoms and third pick Hillary. Curdy Nasty went with Michael Obama. Mara, she believes that Biden will likely be replaced, so do I, and that it will be Michael Obama in his place. And that seems to be the most popular choice. Michelle Obama seems to be who everyone wants. But they're stuck with Biden. I don't know how you would put Michelle Obama and Biden on the ticket together. They're so opposed. I mean, Biden is adopting the Bernie agenda. Obama was fighting the Bernie agenda. I don't see how. I don't think Obama's going to let Michelle get caught up in promoting that kind of an agenda. But I could be wrong. I agree that if they get rid of Biden, then Michelle Obama will be the choice. But then by the time that happens, that will be sometime during the convention or prior to the convention, during the convention, and she would only have 2 months to lay out a case for what her agenda is going to be. And now she'll get all the Democrat vote, but I think independents would scrutinize her very, very closely. I don't see it being a viable option at this point, but anything is possible, right? Larry Rydell, Rice, Lynch, then Jarrett. Yeah, Rice, Lynch. It's funny because Loretta Lynch's name has never really been floated too much out there. She just kind of doesn't seem to be in the running. She must not want the job. Valerie Jarrett, she doesn't really have any of the type of experience. I think that I'd be extraordinarily surprised if she were to pop up. But Rice, I think, is a solid. I think it's down to Susan Rice and Kamala Harris. Myself, I think Kamala Harris is going to be probably the pick because she's the safest one of all. They're all so weak and so bad. I think Rice has too much baggage from Benghazi. They know that she's going to be implicated in Durham's investigation. That could drop before the election. That could be very damaging. Rice has got a lot of baggage. I think Kamala Harris is not necessarily. She's the main reason Kamala Harris, I think they would go with her, is because she will not upstage Biden. She's weak enough that she won't upstage Biden. She'll satisfy the women, satisfy the blacks. So I think she's the safe pick and probably the front runner right now. Be my opinion. Bubba Smollett, net thinks it will be Bubba Smollett. Now that would be funny. Peter James, he's questioning Stacey Abrams. Yeah, Peter, I mean, Stacey Abrams was someone who was being talked about a lot, but it seems like for some reason in the last 2 months or so, her stock has dropped for some reason. And she had that really cringy interview when she was on split screen with Biden where she thought he was going to announce her and he didn't, and her face dropped and her whole demeanor changed, and I think her whole attitude changed, and there's something about her that has turned some people off, and I don't know exactly what that is. I'm not privy to what goes on inside inner Democratic circles, but there's something about Stacey Abrams that about 2 months ago her stock dropped significantly, and I don't know why. Michael is going to go with Rice, although he doubts Biden will be the candidate. Exactly. Gene Alley. Gene. Gene is suggesting Valentina Sampaio. Well, Valentina Sampaio, I believe he's referring to the first bisex, or whatever you want to call it, trans Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. I believe that's who he's referring to. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think that's who he's referring to. And his second pick would be Kamala Legs in the Air Harris. Jeanette Baton believes it will be Rice because she has national name recognition. And that is true. That's what she has going for her. It's what she has going against her that I think could be a problem. Jamie Anzavino will go with Rice. Walker on the Hill believes Rice to keep her secrets. Maybe, but I don't think Durham cares. Stage Door Johnny will go with Rice. Brainbuster will go with Rice. Susan Lowell will go with Rice. Angel Abroad will go with Rice. Joey D believes the Black Shrek. Stacey Abrams for VP, but likely he thinks it will end up being the Right Reverend Clinton and John Kerry, who, by the way, served in Vietnam. Yeah, the Black Shrek, Stacey. Yeah, Stacey Abrams, I don't know, man. Julie Metcalf believes it will be Governor Michelle Lujan. She's, of course, the governor of New Mexico. She's obviously Hispanic. And again, Julia, she actually would be a very solid pick. And of all the people on the list, if you want to look at a list of people, she would actually be a very solid pick for Biden. But I just think that the Black Lives Matter and blacks in general would just go apeshit if they nominate a Hispanic over a black woman. I just think I think that would blow back on them badly. Mariel Nazak will go with Big Mike. Douglas will go with Mike Obama. Terry Sylvester will go with the Rotten Reverend in blackface. The Rotten Reverend, she'll don blackface. Yeah, Hillary, don't put it past Hillary to put on some blackface and be the first black female VP. That is hilarious, Terry. Thank you so very much. The Rotten Reverend in blackface. Chuck Walker will go with Bottoms Up. Joe Mack will go with Kamala Harris. She's 100% corrupt. A perfect fit. Lori Holt will go with Rice. Stephen Ewell will go with Uncle Biden's Rice. Sue Song will go with Kamala Legs in the Air Harris, along with Christian Liberty, also going to go with Horizontal Harris. Youngblood will go with no one. None of the above, because Biden will not be the nominee. I think a lot of people agree with that. Mastrovaci will go with Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi would actually be, a lot of people would like to see that, but no, that ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen at all. Don Curtis will go with Michelle Obama. Sherman Lynn will go with Keisha Bottoms. Again, her stock has dropped in the past month or so because of what went down in Atlanta. I think all those mayors in those cities it's problematic for them. She would be one of those. Cards believes Biden will be replaced with the Rotten Reverend Clinton. That's been my thoughts for a long time. Jana Williams legs on the Kamala Harris. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so that is our picks for potential. Oh, I got some more. Cindy DeFalla will go with Hillary and Mike O. Peggy Moby will go with Hillary, saying she'll take over, so it won't matter. Scott Johnston believes Mazie Hirono. Friend and Liberty will go with Legs in the Air Harris. Janet Blair, the Rotten Reverend Clinton, as president, and Michelle as VP. Andrea Manuela believes in Michelle O. JV will go with Elizabeth Warren. Timothy Day, whoever it is, will be the most humiliating ordeal of their life. I agree. Jeanette Beret will go with Rice. Jonathan Cassidy will go with the Rotten Reverend Clinton and Big Mike. Mystic Meadows will go with Linda Sarsour. That's a tricky one. Mike G. Lori Lightfoot. Rubies will go with Rice and then the Rotten Reverend Clinton. And Rocky likes Mitt Romney. There you go. Our winner this week for who's going to be the runner-up to Biden for VP will be Rice, number 1, Michelle Obama, number 2, and Legs in the Air Harris, number 3. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. See ya. Bye.